We have a example I spent a good amount of time on to really kind of capture like the essence of like what makes, a question bad and what makes a question good. So here's the scenario that Rahul briefly alluded to before, but here is kind of a V1 question, which is there's this hypothetical engineer. They are, they're building an Android app, building a mobile app. They're just trying to load an image on a page, but it's showing up blank. It's not working. So they go to Stack Overflow, they go to our Slack community, they go to LinkedIn or whatever, and they just post this question. They go, "Hey, I'm trying to load an image in my Android app. It shows up blank. Any idea what's going on?" So if we click into the next part of the slide, we there's a million ways that like this bug can occur, right? So this is a bad question because there's so many other things that people have to figure out in order to answer this question. Like they need to figure out which of the 5,000 different ways an image might not load is your way, right? So here are just some of the questions that like follow questions that this hypothetical person is inevitably going to get. They're going to be like, okay, where is the image stored? Is it like a local resource, or is it coming from, some CDN URL, like somewhere online? What library are you trying to load the image with? What are the bounds of the view? Like, what are the bounds of the component that's trying to actually like load the image, load the bitmap on screen? So yeah, like if I was trying to answer this question, I would be that shrugging emoji on the bottom right, because again, there's just image loading is super complex. Android is super complex. With this pretty much zero amount of context, it pretty much only states the problem in a raw way. I can't answer it. So here's how we can level up this question. So the exact same scenario of this person is trying to load a picture within an Android app, except we have all this context, right? They state where the image is, coming from. It's actually coming from a URL. They state essentially the things they've tried, right? They've preemptively gone through like, okay, I know that these are the other ways that image loading can break, but I've already fixed them, right? So they go, oh yes, I've given my app permission to access the internet. Here are some things I've tried from Stack Overflow, which I found via Googling. And they attach some context to make it easier for people to debug. So people can, further Google and Stack Overflow stuff. So they, attach a screenshot of what the experience currently looks like. They link the source code of the layout that's trying to, render the view. And then they have a link to the source code that's actually trying to, load the image, like the image from the URL into the view, right? So this is like a much, much better version of the question. And again, it's really not that much extra effort. In order for you to add all this stuff, it's maybe 10, 15 minutes, right? But you're saving like so many back and forths from the people answering. So like, it's just such a much more efficient exchange of time. And I would be very happy getting a question like this. I'd be, okay, this person clearly like spent a lot of time to make sure that this question is good for me and everyone else trying to answer the question. So like this is an actual scenario that I've seen before. This is a bug I've hit. So if we look at the question, it comes from tinyurl.com, which is a redirect service. To the best of my knowledge, the image loading library Picasso for Android does not handle redirects cleanly outside of the box. But once you add an extension, it should work, right? So this is a much happier version from the answerer side, right? You just go, oh yeah, I've seen this before. Like you've essentially laid it out in painstaking detail that like I know exactly what your problem is. Like I can just recant it off the top of my head, give you the answer, sunglasses emoji, everyone is happy.